Good afternoon and welcome to the Penguin Parlor. My name is Jennifer Reynolds. It's 3 o'clock on a Thursday, and that means it's 15 minutes of talk about Antarctica and some extraordinary and unusual destinations. My name is Jennifer Reynolds. I'm a business development manager in the Southeast for a company called Aurora Expeditions. I was born and raised in Canada. I worked on cruise ships for over 18 years. And I call Tampa, Florida home, where I live with my kitty cat, which is Alfie. So Tampa, Florida is home for me. I have a pretty serious passion for traveling. I can be followed on Jennifer Reynolds Travels. And this afternoon, it's 15 minutes looking at different things that should be enriching to you. In the past, we have looked at Antarctica 101. I've spent 15 minutes talking about a typical day, if anything is typical in this part of the world. Not long ago, there was 15 minutes where we talked about fly sail options and how those work. But today I want to invite you to the Penguin Parlor and looking at November and December, even into a little bit of January next year, because despite what people think, this place is seasonal. It was my husband, who's an oceanographer, who helped me develop a pretty serious passion for this part of the world. And in going through many of his records and oceanographic materials, I discovered how incredible the people were that traveled to this part of the world and how truly new the optionability and privilege to travel here is to people like you and me. So I have done a few trips down to the White Continent. I first did a flyover many years ago. The second time I did what's called a drive-by. The third time in December of 2019, December of 2019, I did a landing, a full-on trip, traveling by myself to the continent. I got so passionate about Antarctica, I pursued a job with Aurora Expeditions. I spent 23 days here earlier this year. And recently I have been made what is called an Antarctic ambassador. And that simply means for an individual like myself who has tremendous passion for this place, we agree to leap for Antarctica, to love it, to educate, to advocate, and to protect. Anytime you will have any kind of communication from me, that's exactly where I'm coming from when I talk about this amazing place. Antarctica is managed by the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators, and they do a darn good job of managing things down here. All human activity is regulated. What you need to know are the numbers 500 and 100. No ships carrying any more than 500 people are permitted to allow anyone to go ashore. Second to that, only 100 people are allowed to make landings at one time. So if you're looking at vessels for someone and they carry 170, 180 passengers, check out the activities that they're offering. And remember that only 100 people can do landings at one time. At one time. Now, I'm going to settle on this image for a moment or two, because frankly, the only error you can ever make in Antarctica is not going at all. But it is seasonal. November, December, January, February, and March. At this time of the year, you'll be flying south to Ushuaia in Argentina, likely through Buenos Aires, having to make a change at an airport. All of November, all of December are extraordinary times to go. I went in December of 2019 and again in March of this year. So I've experienced all seasons. They're just different. In November and December, the seasons are just beginning to open up. It's springtime. The ice is a bit thicker. The chicks and the penguins are a little bit busier. But if you want to go to certain places, like the Ross Sea or the Antarctic Circle, they're actually off limits at that time of the year because there's just too much ice to get through. Lots of daylight in November and December as well. Lots of time for penguin chicks. Thing is, there isn't really a bad time to go. There may be more of an emphasis on wildlife at particular times. And we're going to look at November and December specifically. But that's what our focus is today, is getting down to Ushuaia in Argentina, where we're going to start from. That flight to Buenos Aires with an airport change, a wonderful opportunity to kick about there. And I'm just going to ask you to store away the thought about being in Antarctica for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. But from Ushuaia, the only thing between you and the peninsula of Antarctica is what we call the dreaded Drake Passage. And you might get the Drake Lake, you might get the Drake Shake. It's a little bit of anything, but I'll tell you, you can skip this, but only in the later months of January. Fly sail itineraries begin in late January. Why? Because this is a very specific place. Mother Nature makes it very difficult to fly a charter plane over. So when we talk about an opportunity to go down to this part of the world at this time of the year, we are going to be talking about a sail itinerary, which means in and out of Ushuaia, which frankly is an amazing experience and exactly what I did. Now, yes, there are opportunities to go out to the Falklands and the South Georgia Islands. That's where you're going to see the king penguin. But for today, we're going to focus on out of Ushuaia, getting down into this part of the world in November and December. Ushuaia is magnificent. Cruise lines all include one night pre in Ushuaia. You're coming up on the longest days of the year. So you've got a bucket of daylight. Definitely consider adding Patagonia or something else on here because that can easily be done. But going out of the southern point here means we're heading towards Antarctica, and that is all lands and ice shelves that are south of 60 degrees parallel. And to do that at this time of the year, we're going to go across the Drake Passage. It really doesn't take that long. It's an opportunity to get close to Mother Nature, to have lectures, to learn about what you're going to see on board, to get out on deck and take photographs, to start understanding about the wildlife and connect with the other travelers that you're going to have on board. The science is real, my friends. We are doing it. All of our people on board our ships, whether it's happy whale or eBirds, we are doing surveys. We are checking for microplastics, penguin counting, phytoplankton, counting clouds, doing bird counts. It is real. So trust me, you can take the kids out of school for this one. But it all starts and stops down here with the krill, and climate change is affecting it. It's always been amazing to me, thanks to my oceanographer husband sharing with me that the smallest critter in the ocean now feeds the very largest ones. And the penguin is one of the biggest reasons folks go down here. There are 18 species of penguins in the Antarctic, actually in the world. In the Antarctic, you're going to see the chin strap and the Magellanic penguins. If you want to see the glorious king or the emperor penguin, this is a king penguin. You and I need to talk because there's special places we can get to on South Georgia and the Falkland Islands to make that happen. Focusing on the peninsula in November and December, it's chick time, baby. It's the nursery. It's the chin straps, the Magellanic, the Adelie penguins, the Gentoo, the macaroni penguins. All of these are on the continent. And remember, 98% of it is ice. So ice and penguins, this is what a day is going to look like in the ice, taking photographs, lots of daylight in November and December. Activities are magnificent and included out in the Zodiac in your hikes and walks. Definitely jumping in and doing the polar plunge. I highly recommend everybody do it, but it's that constant quest for wildlife and the ability to get up close and personal. And of course, here in the Antarctic, you'll see a ton of seals as well. And depending on the time of year and where you go, the Ross, the Weddell, the crab eater. Oh, you will never, ever forget the leopard seals and these experiences with these critters. But in November and December, the chicks are coming out. They're stealing rocks from each other. Babies are coming out. It might snow while you're there. You could see some whales. All of the photographs you're looking at have been taken from my journeys through springtime as well as in November and December, and you'd never be able to tell the difference. You might be blessed and see whales bubble netting, which is when they go down and blow out of their blowhole to collect together all of the krill and then dive up through this whole experience in order to get fed. It's like a giant buffet. This is Mother Nature, y'all. This is Alaska on steroids. If you've had people who've been to Norway, if you've had people who've been to Alaska, If you've had people who like ice and kayak and are outdoors enthusiasts, these are things that you can do. And especially in November and December, when that ice is thick, you can get out, believe it or not, and snorkel. Camp on the ice is an additional activity that is only available in November and December. Did you know you can ski and snowshoe down here in the Antarctic snowshoe? And that is only in those November and December months. I always recommend to people to wear a hat that you recognize yourself in, because you start blending in with everybody else. You really don't see a lot of color in this part of the world. It's being outside as much as possible and being prepared for the weather. The kind of folks that love to travel during this time of the year are families. A lot of multi-generational can easily justify taking the kids and heading down here for a couple of weeks. Those active over 55 folks that want to kayak, get out and do some walking, families that want to go down at Thanksgiving and Christmas and just call it simple. Remember, it's only a 1 hour time change between the Eastern Standard Time Zone and Ushuaia. But there is a season, November and December, off into January, February, and March. But I'll say it again, the only mistake you can make is in not going. And this is a whale list, a list of the animals and the birds that I saw in my December departures, everything that you could possibly ask for. Birds and shearwaters and petrels and fulmars. I had no idea what the majority of these things were. But if I had any advice for you as you prepare to travel to this part of the world, or you prepare to send travelers, I'm here to help you do that. But it is the driest place on earth. Bring a portable humidifier. Burt's Bees and a little bit of lip gloss or lip balm everywhere is going to be needed. A comfy little pair of shoes or boots to walk around on the ship are wonderful. And it's amazing to me to learn that you can actually buy plug-in battery socks to keep your feet dry if you want to get down to this part of the world. Who would have thought? So what can you do now? You can look at our website at Aurora Expeditions. We have a wonderful section that is just for travelers only. Go ahead and download an e-brochure, or for that matter, our brand new brochure that is out and available now. Create and share a social post. I've never met anybody who doesn't like a penguin. Grab it off of my Facebook page, which is Jennifer Reynolds Travels. And hey, pick up the phone and ask someone if they're interested or if they've ever thought about it. And if they say, yeah, put them on hold and call me. I'll get on the line with you. But our online resources are very good. And there's some magnificent opportunities that exist now for departures in November and December of this year, and then into January next year. Really great opportunities to reach out, up to 20% off, opportunities over Christmas and Thanksgiving. And that's why I want you to think about Antarctica at this time of the year for both yourselves and travelers. It's pretty darn magnificent. So I'll welcome you back into the Penguin Parlor next week at this time, where I'm going to dig into activities a little bit further. From our day-to-day going ashore in our zodiacs with our 100 people going ashore, to our others going off in activities that include kayaking, diving, snorkeling, skiing. There's an awful lot to do in this part of the world. So I look forward to welcoming you back. And remember, Penguin Parlor is always recorded and posted on my Facebook page. This is Jennifer Reynolds with Aurora Expeditions. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It was November and December in our beautiful Antarctica.